Hi everybody, it's Christina and thank you for joining me. So once again we're going to do a different style of easel card. We're going to create our own papers to go on the back. We're going to stamp and emboss some flowers, and this is what your card will look like when it's completed. Now this is just designer card, so I'm not using that on this next one, but I have used the DL box set to create the box that will hold the card. So let's get started with the design. So the size of this card is 4 by 8, and that will fit very neatly into the box even when it's all made up. So the next thing I want to do is create my own papers. So this is the look and the colour scheme that I'm aiming for, and I've used weathered wood, shaded lilac and spun sugar. And then I've also used these splatter stamps that I've had for about 5 years, and that's done with silver embossing powder and some Versamark. I've also added some splatters with some silver, so I'm going to use the same colours on this next piece of paper, but you'll never get two that will look the same. So we're going to start with some weathered wood, and we'll put some down on the glass mat. And we'll just spray it with a little bit of water, and then we'll mix that in. Now this is just a plastic bag that I'm using as a smusher. So once you've applied one colour and dried it off, you can then apply the second colour. And once you've dried that off, you can then apply the third colour. And that will give you a beautiful pattern on your sheet. So once you have your 3 colours down there, I'm going to just spritz up this white gold and mix it in, and then I'm going to splatter it onto the card. And I'll go away now and dry that. So once your sheet is dry, I'm just going to add some talcum powder to this, and that will take off any fingerprints or sticky marks that are on the sheet, or just make sure that it's completely dry. And then once you've done that, take the stamps that you want and just add them with some Versamark to the top of your card. Now you can either add them to a block, or you can just add them randomly with your fingers. Now do bear in mind that once these are down, because the Versamark is clear, you can't really see where you've put them. So I like to do just a few and then sprinkle them with some silver embossing powder. Now I can always fill in the gaps with this stamp that I've used or others that are in this collection until I've got the whole paper filled and it looks like this. It's been heated and it looks like this. I've got the second piece of cards, so instead of messing about, I'm going to use the stamp on this, and then I'm going to cut the flowers out with the die. And I have had this for years. So if you look, the stamp and the die match. So I'm going to use a stamp platform for my flowers. I've turned the board around so that it reads rubber, because this is a rubber stamp. So that will fit there, and then when I've done that, I can move it up and do the bottom half of the card. So once I've stamped and sprinkled my powder there, I can move the card up, re-ink the stamp, and stamp this at the bottom. And if it doesn't stamp properly, I can always do it a second time. So we'll do it a second time just to make sure that we've got all the flowers covered. So once you've cut some flowers out, you can always move your die along. Fasten this to your card. Make sure it's lined up properly. Tape it in place and cut that out. Now with the paper that's left, you have enough left to create some butterfly backgrounds. So I'm going to cut 3 of these out of this bottom piece of paper. So once I've got my flowers cut out, I'm just going to add a little bit of colour to the leaves and the petals. So with peel paint, I'm just going over the green leaves just to separate the colours out a little bit. And then with blueprint sketch, I'm going to go over the flowers. Now once you've done that, that will leave the Distress Oxide on top of your silver embossing, and it will make it go dull. So with a soft cloth, you're then just going to go over it and pull the paint off the silver, and that will make it shiny again, ready for you to add to your cards. So there we've got the shiny silver again on our leaves and flowers. Now for this card I want to add some floating butterflies. So I've cut 3 panels in some glitter card that I found in my craft stash, and I've cut some of the backing from the paper that we've made. From the front die I've cut 3 silver ones. Now from my trimmer I've taken a piece of acetate and I'm going to lay it on the first line. There's the cut line. So I'm taking it to the first line just past the cut mark, and we'll close that up and then we'll cut that strip. Now if yours is lined, don't forget to take the paper off, and there it is. So we're going to pull this backing off, and that will give us acetate then that is nice and shiny. Now turn your glitter ones over, and down the centre body line you're going to add some glue. You can add plenty on because you need that to stick the acetate in place. And then to cover that working up, you're going to put one of these on the back. So now you can add glue to the rest of it, and you're going to add this to the top. So you're going to marry those pieces up, and then to the top of that, with the body line only, you're going to add that to the front. Now once you're ready to add this to your card, you can cut this down to whatever size you want. But that's how I'm going to make my floating butterflies, and I've got 2 more to make yet to go on my card. So with your butterflies made, pop them on one side to dry. Now the glitter card on the back, just make sure that the workings are not shown. They look nice and neat from the back as they do from the front. Now with your flowers, you're just going to take a ball tool and you're just going to stroke down the petals and then push it in the middle. And then you're going to marry up the different shapes, different sizes that go with this flower to make it multi-layered. And you're going to do that till you've created as many flowers as you need. And you can always stamp and die cut more if you need them. So now that we've got all the things ready that we need to add to our card, let's do some scoring on this. And this is just to turn this now into a triple easel card like this. So this is the way we're going to do this one. So this was 8 inches long, so we're going to do this at 2 3/4 inches each space. So let's bring in the scoreboard again, open the card out, and we're only coming down to this centre line. So we're coming down at 2 3/4 inches. So we're going there, and then we can fold that one back, and we can do this one at 2 3/4 inches. Now that should leave us the last panel. There we are, and it's just slightly over. So we'll just trim that down to 2 3/4 inches, and that's the bit that we've got left over. Now, once we've got this, we need to score these lines, and we need this card to fold in this way. So from these top corners down to this middle bit, we're going to score it. So we'll put these on the channel along there, and we'll just score that down. And then we can put that one out of the way and bring the next one up. And we'll score that one exactly the same way. Put it on the channel and score it down. Fold that one away, and we'll do the same with this. So once we've folded those in, and we can give them a good crease with the bone folder, this is what we will have. We will have 3 panels, all the same width, and now we can start to decorate our card. So this is the paper that we created, and we can add this to the centre part of the card. So I'm going to make little marks on my paper, and that will leave a small border around 2 sides. Make little marks on it and cut that then to that size. So once that's glued in place, we can now work on these pieces. Now to get the paper for each of these panels, I'm going to mark them individually. This top panel here. So I'm going to leave a border around 2 sides and mark it just in from the right hand side and just up from the bottom, and I'm going to cut that. So I've done the same for the others. Now my trimmer is not cutting properly, so I've got a sanding block here. It's just a nail buffer, and I'm just going to go around the edges, and that will just tidy up the outside edges of that paper. Now if you wanted to put this on your panel like this, you can, and then you can refold it. But if you wanted it in 2 separate pieces, you would have to cut this from corner to corner. So you want the fold this way, so you would need to cut this from top right to bottom left, and the same with this one. Put the points in the channel and cut. So once you have your panel stuck in place and it's been refolded, then you're going to need some stops to keep your card open. So you need 3 things that look the same. And they look more or less the same. So we'll glue those in place, and they will act as the stops for the easel, and then we can decorate the front of it. So I've put my stops in place with a little bit of hot glue, and now we can just close this up and add our decoration. So I've decorated 2 of the panels. Now as long as I don't come below this line on any of them, it will rest on the easel stop quite easily. As long as I don't go over the top of the card here, it will still close, so that would be too high. So all I have now is to decorate this panel. So I'm going to put my butterfly in there, and I'm going to put my flower on the top, and it's only being glued on this bottom portion, so it will glue along there. So let's just add this in, and we'll add this in with some hot glue. So we'll pop that in there. We'll pop the flower to the top, and we'll add the leaf down this side. Now if you find your easels won't stay open, they just need re-creasing. So just close it up again, run your bone folder very neatly along the crease, and then it will stay open along there. Now to the centre of these flowers I've added in some chrome dots, but they just keep falling off, so the stickies on the back of it is not very good. So I'm going to add some more glue into the middle of this. Now you've got plenty of space on the back to add your sentiment. You've got a really pretty card there now ready to send, and that will fit into a DL box. And I'm just going to pop the other butterfly in along there, and I'm only gluing it to this bottom flap just underneath that petal, and I'm making sure it doesn't come out too far over the edge of the card. So we'll just pop a little bit of hot glue along there. We'll tuck that in there, and we'll leave that to set up for a little bit. So there is my finished DL card with its floating butterflies. It's got 3 twisted up panels. It fits inside a DL box, and that's all now ready to send. This is the other one that I created, and this has got buttons holding the card home. So it's got buttons that act as the stop. It's got the floating butterflies on it, and that will also fit in a DL box. So one is dark blue and pink, and this is pale blue with a touch of pink in it. So again, we've got the floating butterflies on it, and that's a really pretty card. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please join me on the next one, and why not subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and you'll always be aware when I add a new video. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.